What's going on, everyone? Anthony Davis is hurt once again, and the Lakers are still struggling. Yes, they won against the Utah Jazz, but let's not get too over the top. Now, with the struggles that the Lakers have, they're going to have to make some tough decisions in the offseason, right? They're going to have to make some changes to this roster because clearly this roster didn't work. The Russell Westbrook experiment is still up in the air, and I don't want to put too much into it because they have only played 16 games total between the three of them. It would have been 17, but Anthony Davis got hurt, and as great as Anthony Davis is in specific moments, and as big of a mismatch he is to most teams, the fact that he can't stay healthy and stay on the court, especially in a time where the Lakers truly need him, is a big issue. So one of the big points would be to trade Anthony Davis. But the problem is you have LeBron James still. You have likely Russell Westbrook because you're not going to be able to move off of him to recoup the assets necessary without sort of losing on the deal. So what trade could you make to keep Russell Westbrook as well as LeBron James happy and still compete competitively for a championship? So the only really route you could go is potentially trading Anthony Davis. Now, I'm not saying that they should actually do this, but it would be an interesting trade, and you need something that would fit with Westbrook and LeBron specifically. So what about if the first thing that comes to mind is Damian Lillard? I know many people want to see Damian Lillard on the Lakers, myself included. I would absolutely love it. And you might be thinking, well, Westbrook and Lillard wouldn't fit side by side. That's not necessarily true because Lillard is an incredible shooter, arguably one of the best in the entire NBA. So you have that spacing with Lillard and Westbrook. Westbrook can attack the paint. You can also spread out their minutes to where they don't have to share the court at the same time constantly. And it might actually be a natural, better fit than with Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis operates best in the paint. He is such a huge mismatch. But Lillard can operate, he can catch and shoot, he can handle the ball, he can create his own shot, he can do a lot of things that Anthony Davis just hasn't been able to do the last 2 years. Davis was a monster from the outside when they won their bubble championship. But since then, he has really struggled and is shooting some atrocious 12% from three-point range this season, and that's not going to cut it. But Damian Lillard solves a lot of the issues the Lakers have right now, except for defense. Defense is still an issue, but it also makes sense for Damian Lillard because he gets to go to a team and be a contender. Portland is obviously rebuilding, and they stated that they want to build around Damian Lillard. That's why they freed up all the cap space. But who's really going to go to Portland, for one? And two, the front office of Portland hasn't shown that they are capable of making the right moves to fill around Damian Lillard to make them a title contender. They have tried various projects and none of them have really worked out, and the Portland Trailblazers have really underwhelmed in the playoffs when they even make the playoffs. So it's very likely Damian Lillard might want to get out, and if you have a trade with him and Anthony Davis right off the jump, it makes a ton of sense because you're basically swapping superstars. If Portland does decide, hey, I want to go full rebuild mode and I don't want to build around Anthony Davis, well, now you have a great tradable asset that many other teams would be more than happy to take off your hands and give a great return. I mean, look at the Lakers' return for Anthony Davis. There are other teams out there. Chicago may even give you some quality pieces to build around and to build for your future with an Anthony Davis intact. Plus, Anthony Davis is younger. He's a big man, which big men are really dominating the league at this time. But sticking with big men, one big issue with Anthony Davis's departure from the Lakers is who is going to replace him as far as size goes, because that's always a big issue in the league. Like I said, big men are sort of dominating the NBA in many ways, so the Lakers need to fill that void. Well, one way that they could fill the void is with another player in Portland, and that player is Nurkic. Right? He is fantastic. He is a very underrated center, in my opinion. His biggest knock, though, is his injury report, right? He's injured almost as much as Anthony Davis and has missed some very key big moments. But when he does play for Portland, they are one of the topper teams in the league as far as, offensive rating, defensive rating goes. His passing is an extremely underrated value, in my opinion, that never gets enough, notice. He can shoot, he can spread the floor, he can do everything, all of the intangibles you need from a big man. And I think that he would be an excellent replacement replacement for Anthony Davis. He's also a free agent this year, so you have to do a sign and trade, but it's very likely he might want to go to the Lakers to stay with Damian Lillard, as well as join LeBron in the big moment for a chance to compete for a title. He might even take a little less pay cut. Lakers would probably have to throw in another contract to take in that void, but you could give up like a Kendrick Nunn, especially if you have a Damian Lillard down. You could trade Anthony Davis and Kendrick Nunn to go and get these two players, and really now you have the core of your team. All you really need is a wing defender. You could keep, a Stanley Johnson to just be that defender because you don't need that scoring. Not just that, but it likely frees up enough cap space to retain Malik Monk, who has been fantastic for the Lakers, and in many ways has been one of their most consistent players all year. So now you really round out a quality starting five with Westbrook, Lillard, you have LeBron, you have Nurkic, and then you could do, like I said, a Stanley Johnson on the wing as a defender to defend the best players and really help round out that starting five. It's a nice versatile starting five with interchangeable parts. You could have Westbrook just run the offense in moments. You could have Lillard just run the team at moments. You could have LeBron just run the team at moments, and even go big with Nurkic with his passing, and he's able to run the offense through him and really set up plays. I mean, we've seen it with Portland since they traded McCollum and and Lillard has been out. It's very likely that you could sort of plug him in and run a offense that's centered around your center in key moments. And it just makes you more versatile overall, in my opinion. And it's a nice return for an Anthony Davis who just has really underwhelmed since the bubble. And, don't get me wrong, LeBron and Anthony Davis's relationship is likely going to be the reason that doesn't happen. LeBron truly, cares for Davis. They have that bromance in so many ways, but it comes down to LeBron and what he wants. Does he really want to take a chance on Anthony Davis in his final years of his career, whether he leaves the Lakers or not? I mean, this trade, I think, puts them in a position to be top of the West and a title contender once again. Not just that, but then, you round out the rest of your roster with, re-signing Melo and, get Malik Monk back, Stanley Johnson, and maybe a key free agent or two in the offseason. I think could very well put you as one of the best teams in the entire league, and you have a nice balanced attack, a nice balanced front to really sort of push for LeBron's last year and decide if he wants to redo a contract. If not, at least you have Damian Lillard and Nurkic to sort of build around if LeBron does decide to depart. If he does leave, you're in LA with Damian Lillard. Many people probably will come in order to, compete again, especially if you're coming off of a title or something like that, which in that case, I don't think LeBron would leave at all. But even if he does, you have his contract off, you have Westbrook's contract off, and essentially all you have are these two to build around for your future, which isn't a bad start. I mean, Lillard is getting up there in age, but he still has several years ahead of him, where especially his skill set. His skill set isn't really, ground and pound type skill set like a Russell Westbrook. His is more, finesse and scoring, shooting, playing outside. So he can always be a key factor even as he gets up there in age. We saw it with plenty of, athletes and NBA players over the years. I mean, even people like Ray Allen. Ray Allen was playing deep into his age because of his shooting, because of his abilities, and won a championship, on the Miami Heat. So it makes a ton of sense that they would go this route. But as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments below. Would you like to see a trade along these lines? An Anthony Davis for a Damian Lillard and maybe a Nurkic. Especially if you can get the sign and trade, maybe give up, like I said, a Kendrick Nunn, because now you don't really need him because you have Lillard, and it's very likely you're going to have to keep Westbrook. So that's not a big issue because the next year, like I said, Westbrook's contract falls off. You have LeBron still if he does come back, and now you can kind of replace Westbrook with multiple pieces or another big free agent to sort of push for maybe another title run or two. But let me know your thoughts on this trade. If you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Follow by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.